welcome to our Peace in Cyberspace workshop. I'm Debbie Rupchand, Chair of the District 7030 Peace Committee. Let me start with apologies. We apologize for keeping you guys waiting in the room. Thank you for your patience. I could assure you that what we will be presenting here tonight was well worth waiting for. I want to share with you our Zoom protocols for the meeting as we get the meeting underway. If you could please select your language in English or French by clicking on the interpretation button, which you would see at the bottom of your screen. Unless you are recognized by the moderator, your microphone will remain on mute during this session. During the presentation, if you have any questions or comments, please post them in the chat box. If it's necessary, you can use your raise hand feature in Zoom, and the moderator may allow you to speak. During the session, you will be automatically assigned to breakout rooms, and the recording and slides will be posted on the District 7030 website, as well as the our YouTube channel. So, having set the protocols for the evening, I want to especially recognize the presence of our District Governor, Sonia Lane, our Peace in Cyberspace presenter, Reem Gunaim, panelist, Darren Dorey, our past district governors on the call, DG Lyle, DG Dominique, our future district governors, Leslie Ramdani, Brian Glasgow, all our Rotaractors, Interactors, our guests. I know we have some guests from the USA, from Nigeria. We have an attendee from Afghanistan. I believe we have PDG Harish from 7020, who's always with us once we are talking peace. All our guests on Facebook, our viewers, please, we thank you for your presence, your participation, for taking the time out to be part of this workshop. Today, as we all know, is the United Nations International Day of Peace. I started my morning with the unveiling of a peace poll with the message, "May peace prevail on earth" in 8 different languages in the city of Port of Spain, Trinidad, by the Rotary Club of Central Port of Spain. And what a wonderful event that was to start Peace Day. At 1 p.m., we had the launch of the Youth Peace and Action Initiative. And I'm proud to say 31 clubs in District 7030 are participating in the YPA event. And now, this evening, we have our almost 200 participants on the Zoom and on Facebook who will celebrate peace with us, as the UN has asked us to do, by standing up against acts of hate online and offline, and by spreading compassion, kindness, and hope in the face of the pandemic, as we raise our voices this evening against issues like cyberbullying, cyber grooming, and acts of hate online. District 7030, I say to you, is a peace-building district, and I assure you that you will enjoy everything that is presented here tonight. But before we get into the workshop, I want to introduce to you our dynamic, our beautiful, our inspiring district governor, Ms. Sonia Lane of Barbados, to bring us greetings on this auspicious occasion. DG Sonia, over to you.
Thank you, Debbie. Thanks, everyone. Happy International Day of Peace. It is an honor to be here with you this evening as we celebrate what the UN has taken a real important stance against this evening: cyberbullying on and off, acts of hate online and offline. It is our decision this evening to make this a priority. And I'm happy to say that it also coincides with our Rotary Day of Service activity, where the whole of District 7030 has been just a blast with cyberbullying messages. And I could not thank the team, the Rotary Day of Service team, chaired by Denise, and her team, Fiona, Kevin, and Vivian Ann, who thought that we should be a part of this, and Debbie for accepting and bringing them on board to this magnificent event this evening. Thank you so much. I know that the content, Reem, we're so honored to have you here with us, and Darren, District 7030 is truly blessed to have this set of people on our side this evening. Our peace building district is in good hands with these folks. So sit back, relax, and have a fantastic celebration with us this evening. And I look forward to the interchanges in the breakout rooms. Thanks so much, Debbie, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you so much, District Governor Sonia. And again, it is now my pleasure to welcome Rotary International Director, Peter Kyle. Peter Kyle is a strong advocate for peace. He is no stranger to District 7030. Once we invite him to peace events, I know he always prioritizes attending it. Director Peter, we are privileged to have you here, and I hand over to you.
Great. Well, thank you, Debbie, for that very nice introduction. District Governor Sonia, Rotaractors, Interactors, Rotarians of District 7030, and my old special friend, Reem Ghanayam. Reem, great to see you. 7030 is a very special district. I hope to visit it very soon. You have been outstanding in so many areas, particularly in membership. But tonight we celebrate Rotaractors and Interactors and all that you are doing to promote peace. And as Sonia mentioned, and Debbie, today is the International Day of Peace, promulgated by the United Nations General Assembly all over the world, all over the Rotary world. There are countless events and activities to celebrate this special day. I've been involved in promoting the Youth and Peace in Action initiative. I'm sure you will have heard about it. If you haven't, you should. You should join the Peace Train. It's a fantastic initiative involving young people, particularly Interactors, high school students, and a whole variety of peace building activities. It may interest you to know that the YPA program is the largest local community-based peace building project in Rotary's history. And that says a lot because Rotary's been going for over 100 years. I'm really pleased that your focus today is on cyberbullying. This is an area where I know nothing about, and it's beyond my technical capability, but it is preeminently an issue that young people have to face and can deal with. So I'm so impressed that the organizers of this event have chosen to focus on cyberbullying, cybercrime, cyber activity. You understand it, you can deal with it, and I hope that the breakout sessions that follow will give you the tools that you need, the understanding that you need to deal with this insidious crime. So I've been told not to say too much. I was a bit late getting on because of my technical deficiency, so I apologize if I've spoiled the timetable, Debbie and Sonia, but I am delighted to be with you. And as I said at the outset, once this pandemic, once the travel limitations are over, hopefully towards the end of this year, the beginning of next year, I very much hope to come down and visit some of the countries in your part of the world, Trinidad and Barbados and possibly parts of South America. So thank you for the invitation to be with you tonight. I hope you have some very enjoyable and very productive and informative sessions. And I wish you every success, each of you, as you continue your respective Rotary journeys. Thank you very much.
Peter, thank you so much for your greetings. And yes, we are definitely looking forward to you visiting our district. You may have missed it, but at the start of the meeting I shared, we have 31 clubs registered for Youth, Peace and Action in District 7030. So we are there with you.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful news.
Okay, so now we are at the point where we officially get into our workshop, and it is really my pleasure to introduce our workshop presenter, Reem Ghanayam. Reem is a Rotary Peace Fellow. She's a positive peace activator. She's the former executive director of the Rotarian Action Group for Peace. She Her track record in peace building is impressive. It is impeccable. I could say so much about Reem, but I'm going to hand you over to Reem and you would experience it yourself. Reem, over to you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And thank you, District Governor Sonia and Peter, for your inspiring comments and the energy you brought into this wonderful event. And thank you to all the participants today who took the time to be with us. To everyone watching on Facebook or here, happy International Day of Peace. This year, as you've heard, the 2021 International Day of Peace theme is Recovering Better for an Equitable and Sustainable World. COVID-19 has increased our presence in cyberspace, and with the rise of use of cyberspace, the challenges and opportunities of cyberspace have become more prevalent. We decided to focus and design this workshop around the power of youth in bringing positive peace, positive change, and energy into cyberspace, a space that needs our peace building efforts, intention, and creativity. So with that, I would like to start the workshop with an icebreaker. To kickstart the workshop, we wanted to use a cyberspace for an icebreaker and virtual activity. To do that, please go to the chat box on your Zoom and click the link there and answer the question on the screen with one word that we would like, so we can show how we would describe peace building in one word. So would you please, Brian, share the Mentimeter link and also share it on the screen. So this is the question that you will see. What does being a peace builder mean to you in one word? And there's the translation in French. And it's worth, so we're receiving these beautiful words from you, inspiring words that describes peace building, unity, love, kind, acceptance, compassionate, resilient, happiness. Wonderful. So keep doing these words so we can learn more about what encompasses peace building or a peace builder. So you are using very inspiring words today on this day. These words varies in size, as you can see. So let's take the word love, which I can see at the center of the this mosaic of inspiring words. The big words such as, love indicates that the majority of you agree that love is an important value of a peace builder. So regardless, all these words, big or small in size, are important to the values for peace building and peace builders. And you are now elevating more words like empathy. I can see empathy in big. I can see compassionate in big size. I see unity, harmony. I wonder what are one of the small words there. You can also type in the chat box your most inspiring words as well. Okay, I would like to see some of the smaller. So altruism, I see altruism. It's a very small word there, but I think it's a really important word. Thank you for enriching that discussion. I see cooperation, understanding, justice. Great. Okay, so with that, this was very inspiring activity. We would like now to move on to the next activity. As I mentioned earlier, the workshop today will address some of the major challenges and opportunities in cyberspace. For the first part of our workshop, we will be addressing the challenges of cyberspace. And we need your help by answering the survey that you also will see in the link in the chat box. So click on the link in the chat box to answer the survey. And the survey question, as you see, have you experienced any cyberbullying or cyber grooming? the answer is yes or no, and I don't know what that is. So there is some of you, the majority has not experienced cyberbullying or cyber grooming, but there is enough of you who did, and it indicates that that's very interesting results. And some of you don't even know what these are, which is really good. So we have a very diverse population in terms of experience around these issues. Great. So with that, let's kickstart our discussion. And I would like to introduce Darren, who we've invited today to help us inform us on these challenges of cyberspace, especially in relation to the Caribbean nations. So we invited Darren Dory, who is a cyber safety expert with extensive experience in social media behaviors. So I'd like us to welcome Darren into the virtual stage so I can engage with him in a Q&A, a short Q&A that would be followed with a breakout session later for you to continue to engage on this discussion and dive into that understanding. So Darren, can you tell us, as you've seen, the survey answers are interesting. Some people in the audience, the minority of the audience have been exposed to cyberbullying, but the majority doesn't even didn't have that experience, and some of our audience didn't even know what cyberbullying or cyber grooming was. So can you start by let's dissect cyberbullying and cyber grooming and start with addressing cyberbullying first. So what is cyberbullying? Can you elaborate on that definition?
Sure thing. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Reem, and thanks to everyone for joining the call this afternoon. I have to say, I'm actually not quite surprised at the results from the survey because I think a lot of us are not entirely aware, of what cyberbullying is. I do have a definition, and throughout this session this afternoon, we will be switching from slides, to our videos as well. And this definition here, you can read it while I'm speaking, but I think if we drill down a little bit into it, we'll be able to get a sense as to how broad the term cyberbullying is. And I'm just going to pull out some keywords. And maybe after, listening in on this definition, we might be able to get some slightly different results from that poll. So if you're using a computer system repeatedly, to cause fear, intimidation, detriment to another person's health, emotional well-being, self-esteem, or reputation, that's an act of cyberbullying. It does not always have to end up in something that's derogatory. For example, you could actually just tell something bad about a business that might affect their reputation and cause them loss of income, and there you have cyberbullying. And it's different from cyber grooming, which we will get into a little bit later on.
That's really interesting definition, Darren, because those words that you used are the opposite of what peace building is that we saw earlier: intimidation, distress, harm. They all kind of, to me, lie under the umbrella of violence. So if I would summarize all that into virtual violence, and that causes distress and harm and negative impact on people in that space. So can you tell us how big of a problem is this? Is this a problem that's major? Like, is it major to the Caribbean? How would you describe this problem in terms of statistics and how big it is in size?
Well, it's definitely quite an issue right here in Trinidad and around the world. And we can even go back to just, folks understanding the definition. Right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we had a recent experience of cyberbullying, and maybe not many people were aware of it. There was this very popular international musician or artist who made some comments about some things related to Trinidad and Tobago. And when you actually dived into some of the comments that were made, which many folks in Trinidad and Tobago were laughing at, some of them were actually, derogatory and causing reputational damage to individuals. That's an act of cyberbullying. And in that regard, unless if you are probably living under a rock in Trinidad and Tobago, you literally experienced cyberbullying from an international individual onto almost the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. So it's real, it's right here. And, you know, we do have some statistics. You know, Cyber Safety was able to actually run some surveys, you know, a couple of years ago. And in that survey, you know, we were able to administer to just over 3,000 students in Trinidad and Tobago. And it found that, you know, nearly 1 in 5 students reported being bullied during the school year. And I found that to be, you know, very startling. Even more so, you know, those students who are actually bullied, they then found that, you know, it's very difficult for them to even go back to school, you know, or feel safe when you're in school. So these, you know, virtual acts, you know, do have real life consequences. And I think that's something that we need to remember throughout the discourse this afternoon and even thereafter. You know, it's cyberbullying is virtual acts with real consequences. It does not just stay on the screen, but it can affect someone, you know, personally, possibly even physically, and, you know, for a very, very long time thereafter.
So Darren, can you help us put those statistics into a human story? Is there a story that you can share with us that could really teach us about the impact of cyberbullying on the life of a young person or someone who resides on the cyberspace?
Of course. I mean, I have so many different, you know, stories. I've assisted so many different individuals over the years. You know, Cyber Safety started in 2010, and we really went about a mandate of, you know, educating folks about cyberbullying and social media etiquette. But there's one that really stands out, Reem, and I think it might resonate, you know, a bit, particularly with the Trinidad audience, but, you know, of course, across the region and across the world, you will be able to understand as well. So we have an exam here in Trinidad and Tobago called the SEA. It used to be called the Common Entrance Exam, but it's an exam that, you know, you're at about 10 or 11 years where you write it in primary school, and that's your entrance into secondary school. There's a lot of stress around an exam and a lot of pressures, and, you know, these young ones, they are allowed to actually, you know, write, you know, enter that particular exam. So when you pass for, you know, what we call your first choice, you know, it's a major accomplishment, and it's a fantastic achievement, regardless of where you've come from. So this particular story is related to, you know, a young girl who would have passed for, you know, her first choice, and she was, you know, enjoying her first time in school, not really familiar with the social media space, and sort of, you know, being forced to engage in that particular space because the peers that she would have joined, they were very familiar with it. And to make a long story short, she was so unfamiliar, her so-called friends at the time decided to make some fun of her on the internet. And, you know, they posted what we know now as memes relating to her. And it was really bad. She's a young person and, you know, trying to deal with this every time she opened up, you know, her phone or go onto a social media platform, she's reminded of this particular event. It became so bad, Reem, that she was unable to walk down the halls of that school, and she applied for a transfer from her first choice school in her second year at that college. And I mean, that says a lot. You would have studied, just put yourself in that position. You would have studied for so long. You know, you would have done everything that everyone expected you to do and reached that goal. And having to leave because somebody decided to make a joke on the internet, or at least what they thought it was a joke, right? And that's just one of the so many different cases. You know, we probably have some other cases that, you know, would have resulted in physical harm. And again, those are real life things, but it goes to show you that, you know, virtual acts with real life consequences. So I hope, you know, everyone here could get that understanding that, you know, you might be caring about your regular business, but you never know what can happen on the internet. So you have to be very, very careful. You know, and of course, I'm sure we're going to speak about some ways to address that going forward.
Absolutely. This is a very powerful story, Darren, about the young girl in school, because it shows how much, you know, the collective action that social media can provide to hurt someone, because it's a space where one comment adds to, there's another comment. So this one particular young girl was isolated virtually, and therefore in her physical space in school, that she ended up being forced to change schools which is like in bigger picture peace studies, you talk about displaced people, like in a conflict zone. So she was kind of, but if we want to talk about it at this micro level or this small level, she was isolated virtually, then physically, then she was forced to be displaced because that's not a safe environment for her anymore. That continued to cause her harm emotionally, and luckily she didn't end up hurting herself physically, but in many cases that ends up being the case. I know personally about people who ended up killing themselves, young people who that kind of isolation and bullying led to their self-harm to the level that they ended their lives, which is a serious life consequence. So Darren, this is a major issue, cyberbullying. So what can we do about it? What are the recommendations as an expert in that space?
Well, there are many different approaches. I want to actually go back to, those words that folks were typing out at the beginning. And one of them that stood out, I think you mentioned it, Reem, and it was that of empathy. And I think because we may not necessarily have empathy in many situations, we end up in a cyberbullying, case where, younger kids, they may not empathize with someone who might not be as fortunate or privileged as they might be. And, they may think that they're saying something in jest or, to be popular. But, I think empathy and having that empathy and understanding empathy is definitely one of the, ways in which we could curb cyberbullying as a whole. However, if the act has already taken place, there are two ways in which we can deal with it. Sometimes you might be overwhelmed, as in the situation and the example that we explained. Definitely you will want to seek assistance and help from someone to report it. There are so many of these social platforms allow you to report abuse and report cyberbullying because they have also identified, that it is a definite bad situation, that, they've put mechanisms within their platform to help you to report it. You can simply leave the group on that social platform as well. I like to use the term to take a digital detox. It gives you a chance to take a breather away from all of that, noise that's, coming your way. Take a deep breath. And, it's a similar sort of approach you might take if you had a little squabble with someone at work or even at home. You don't want to act immediately. You don't want your emotions to dictate how you're going to respond, right? You definitely want to take that with some pace and, maybe address the situation later on. Because sometimes it can be so bad that, you're so overwhelmed that you needed assistance. However, a cyberbullying act, and depending on the individual, they can still feel empowered. So listen, this happened to me on the internet. You know what? I'm going to stand for myself. I'm actually going to try and deal with the situation. So you could probably respond by, as they say, fighting fire with fire, maybe this time fighting fire with water. You say something positive to the person that's, bullying you. Take a stand and try to, stop what's going on. And let the bullying know that, there's really nothing good that's going to come out of it. And, often, and if it's possible, you can send them a private message and say, listen, what I think that you did was really wrong, inappropriate. Can we work this out? And sometimes, the cyberbully, and I've seen this in many occasions, just needs someone to talk to. And, they may believe that this is the way in which they can have that interaction by being a bully. But if you reach out to them and say, hey, why did you do that? Can't we just be friends? It works. It might sound, cliche, but it works. And definitely, if you're seeing someone being cyberbullied, one of the commands that, have been, said on over and over again is stop, block, and tell. Stop sharing content related to the victim, block the cyberbully account, and tell. And this applies to, not necessarily the victim, but this also applies to just the onlooker. So all of us may have social media platforms, and we may engage or see someone posting up something about another person that might be a cyberbullying act. You also have the ability to stop that from going viral, as they say. So you don't want to share that image. You don't want to share that meme. You don't want to add to that content. You don't want more people to know about it. You want to block that cyberbullying account. And of course, from my work with the Facebook platform and Instagram platform, the more people you get to report a particular account for cyberbullying, the quicker they will act on it, right? And it definitely helps to get your friends and that sort of crowdsourcing approach to dealing with cyberbullies. And of course, the last one, not to forget, if it is really, really serious, most countries have laws to deal with cyberbullying. So you may need to definitely take it to the authorities, right? So, there may be equivalent cybercrime bills and laws in the different jurisdictions because a cyberbullying event could even be a threat on someone's life as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Darren. Of all these, I would encourage all the young people to know that they have the power to uplift the victims and to choose not to ride the negative momentum of the cyberbully. So we all have the power to say kind things and be peace builders and proactive about empowering and uplifting the victims who we see are isolated and targeted by cyberbullies. So that's wonderful. So now cyber grooming is another topic, and it is different from cyberbullying. So can you elaborate about cyber grooming and how is it different from cyberbullying from your perspective?
Yes, so definitely I will go back to sharing my screen. So cyber grooming, it's very different than cyberbullying, and it's really the act of someone befriending you on the internet, becoming a friend, building an emotional connection with you with ulterior motives, and it's generally that of some sort of sexual exploitation, which could possibly even lead to human trafficking. So it's quite different than cyberbullying, where you would find that cyber grooming often happens quietly. Someone might message you on a private chat, they won't take it public. Cyberbullies generally like their acts to be public and open, whereas cyber grooming, they would seek out their victims. And generally, if you're on this social space and you're presenting a vulnerable front, sometimes we may take to social media to express our sadness or depression, or it's just an avenue in which we can actually express those emotions. Unfortunately, whilst we could probably get help from friends to feel better, there are other individuals who are looking on for that vulnerability, and they may pry on that, because they know that that individual, is looking for some sort of emotional connection. And, they sort of try to build that emotional connection, befriend them, build their trust, and then engage them to do, pretty illicit activities. And from that point thereafter, you're groomed, and it's very difficult for you to come out of that particular situation.
Yeah, this is really interesting because cyber bullying is more visible. You actually see the bully, you can identify who the bully is, who's being bullied. But with cyber grooming, it's more invisible, it's subtle, it's manipulative. And there is subtle ways of getting someone to be a victim, and it's hidden. So how can we protect ourselves from it? Let's start with what are the tactics that the cyber groomers use to recruit their online victims or identify their victims? And it would be wonderful if you could explain that to us through a story, an example that we can learn from.
Sure thing. So, there are numerous tactics that have been used by cyber groomers. I'll try to, sort of give you just some of them that, would have been used. Of course, they're going to try to befriend you. They will tell you exactly what they want to say. And, it might be interesting to make this statement, but they are professionals in their own right. So they know exactly what to say, they know when to say it, they know how to say it, right? Some of them actually make a living out of this. They would promise you, all of the best things. Now, I have a point on this slide here, which I want to highlight, particularly to, any parents in on the call, because they may not necessarily be aware that, sometimes a cyber groomer might befriend someone by, purchasing internet currency, right? Or V-Bucks. We have a very popular game across the world called Fortnite, and you will need V-Bucks to, improve yourself in the game. Parents joining on the call might probably know that, yes, this is not cheap. And kids often ask for it instead of, gifts these days. That's what they want for Christmas. That's what they want for their birthday. And, the unfortunate thing is that sometimes these cyber groomers are aware of it. And you can actually send money to, an unsuspecting individual, fully electronic, and no one will know. Parents wouldn't even know that the money hits their account, right? So that's one way in which, they can actually start to win their trust. And again, on the lines of, this whole environment of gaming, many kids engage in online gaming tournaments, which again, I don't want to come across as doom and gloom. These are fantastic things. It helps build so many other different elements of one's character. But we need to be quite aware, because these gaming tournaments are often open. It means you're not just gaming or communicating with your friends. You're actually with a wider audience of complete strangers, right? So it's something that you have to be quite aware of. And these kids, they're not categorized as vulnerable, right? They are there, they're playing, but they may be gullible. They may be easy targets as well. And on that point, I don't want to point fingers on the kids alone, because adults also fall prey to this. And this is a particular example, and I will actually, go into a real life situation that happened here in Trinidad and Tobago just a couple of years ago. So for the adults that are sitting in on, you might probably see some job advertisements on the social platform that might seem quite attractive, requesting absolutely no experience, and you could start immediately, and, you might be able to get paid in US dollars, for example. So if the offer is too good to be true, chances are it is. The example that I have is one of an individual who, responded to a job advertisement on Facebook, and this person was, living in Trinidad and Tobago, is living in Trinidad and Tobago, and the employer, or the potential employer, decided to ask the person to meet up in person. Sorry. Luckily, however, the person had the foresight to bring someone with her to that meeting. So she came out of a vehicle. They did happen to meet in a relatively public space, but she came out of a vehicle, starting to speak, and realized something is not right, and long story short, she was actually able to, prevent herself from becoming kidnapped. The person did get away at the point in time, but thanks to the detective work done by our protective services and the cybercrime unit, they were able to look at the different Facebook postings, and it did take a while, but they did find the person. This is how we know that this particular online grooming tactic did happen right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's not something that happens just to the young ones. It can actually happen to the older ones. And there's one word that I want us to attach to this whole cyber grooming element, is that of vulnerability. So you can be an adult that's vulnerable. This person may have been looking for a job, they may have been out of employment, or you can be even a younger person who's vulnerable. They may be looking for attention or some sort of emotional connection. And unfortunately, this is what these cyber groomers look for to attack on their victims.
Yeah, this is pretty disturbing to know, like, that a groomer would use your vulnerability, your need, and try to get control over the victim by these tactics. Luckily, so a shout out for everyone, just to be careful out there in Trinidad and the Caribbean in general. If someone is inviting you for a job interview, they should meet you at a company or through official setting and not in the street or a cafe. I don't know, but that was, I'm glad that she was safe. So how can we protect ourselves from cyber groomers, Darren? Since they're so manipulative, they are, to me, it's really dangerous, because they're targeting normal aspects of our life. Someone looking for a job, someone looking for a friend, and they hijack that space. So how can we protect ourselves from them?
Well, there are multiple things that we can actually do. But before we even jump into that, something just came to mind. We spoke about job advertisements, we spoke about playing games as well. But with COVID, many of us, locally, regionally, internationally, might have resorted to ordering things on the internet and having to meet someone to collect that particular item. That's also something that you need to be quite aware of, right? You definitely don't want to be going to meeting someone by yourself, and always do it in a public place. If you're uncomfortable, about having that person come to your house as well, because again, you're not inviting an intruder who you've met on the internet in your personal space. So it's just something that I wanted to add to that to the conversation as we were on the topic, because all of these are things that you can actually use to protect yourself. Yeah. Now, it's really difficult, Reem, you know, for someone who might be in a cyber grooming situation, because it often ends up with, you know, you probably sharing pictures of yourself that you probably shouldn't share in the first place. And, you know, people might be thinking, well, how would it even reach to that? You know, the kind of statistics and data that we have, it starts from very, very young ages. You know, I'm speaking about late primary school, you know, into university level, where, you know, individuals are, you know, they're just tricked on the internet by cyber groomers to sharing inappropriate pictures of themselves and videos, you know, with promises of a whole host of different things. So they're going to reach a point where it's too late. I can't come out because, you know what, this person is threatening to release these images or to release these pictures out in public. The best advice that I could give is, you know, you shouldn't be embarrassed. Mistakes do happen, and, you know, you can't overcome. You know, you would probably want to start to limit your interactions with the individual, you know, because you may not necessarily be able to stop immediately without raising an alarm. Definitely in a situation like this, and in Trinidad and Tobago and in many other jurisdictions, this is an illegal activity. So you do have just cause to report it to, you know, to the relative authorities. You definitely need to understand that in situations like this, you cannot deal with it alone. So you must confide in someone, particularly, you know, like an adult, you know, who can assist you and lead you along that right path. You know, and definitely things like, you know, setting up security and privacy settings on your social media accounts. Some folks may even go the lengths of changing their phone numbers and so on. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Reem. I know if you do have nude images of yourself out there, it's a difficult thing to deal with, you know, and you generally don't want to end up in that situation in the first place. So understanding, you know, good social media etiquette and what you really should and shouldn't be doing online is definitely something to prevent this on the whole. However, it's a little bit too late, you know. The message that I would like to give is, don't be embarrassed, you know, get assistance, get some help, confide in someone who can help. And as I said, you know, more than likely there is legal course of actions that you can actually take to deal with this situation within your own jurisdiction.
Yeah, thank you so much, Darren. I would love to emphasize that it's never too late to take action against the groomer, even if you are a victim. At the end of the day, you are the victim and you need the help, and you were lured into doing something you didn't wish to do in the first place. So never be embarrassed. You need all the help that is available to you. So you need to put a stop to that process by you know, exposing the groomers and connecting with the right authorities and talking to people who would help you put stop to that. So please don't be embarrassed if you were exposed to that harassment and violence online. So with those informative information from Darren, I would like now to take this conversation into our breakout sessions, and we would love now to start our first breakout session, where you will dive into deeper discussion about these topics and meet new friends as well and learn new ideas from one another. Each breakout room will have a facilitator who will help guide the discussion. For our viewing audience on Facebook, we will be showing you a video in French. We invite you on Facebook to share your comments and ideas and thoughts on cyber grooming and cyberbullying under the video. Please enjoy your time together. Best wishes to all of you, and we will come back in 30 minutes. See you soon. I hope you had really productive discussions. I would like to apologize for those who were not assigned to breakout sessions due to Zoom glitch that we had earlier. So some of you, some of the facilitators and the participants, not all of you, were not able to be going to breakout rooms. Hopefully in the next part of this session, we will be able to assign you manually into breakout rooms. But on a good note, I really want to have a big thank you and shout out to Interactors of Guadeloupe, who produced a wonderful educational video on cyberbullying and that we utilized in the workshop at the general session and also at the Facebook Live. So thank you so much, Interactors, for being leaders on this topic and for producing a wonderful production. I'm very proud of you. So back now to our session. And I would like us to proceed by addressing social media, which is, in the first part of the workshop, we talked about social media negative aspects, but social media is not only a platform for virtual violence, but it is also a powerful platform for positive peace building. And as we celebrate International Day of Peace, and the theme of our celebration this year is recovering better for an equitable and sustainable world, we would like to explore how social media could offer us a tool and a platform to do that. So with that, I would like to bring in Darren again into the discussion and have this conversation with him. So Darren, I would like to ask you if does social media really have the power to allow us to build peace and bring positive impacts on our world, given just how our discussion went earlier?
Of course, Reem. I always say in every presentation that I would be involved in is that we may speak about some heavy topics, cyber grooming, cyberbullying, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? Social media is a fantastic space if we use it appropriately. And definitely you can, do really fantastic things. I make a living on the internet and social media. So that in itself is a testament to, using it in a positive way. I'm going to share some information now, with the group to kind of show exactly what it is I mean by, being able to use social media in a positive light. So it can really influence the world. And I like to say, one hashtag can actually change the world, right? And maybe we might be able to change something this afternoon, right, Reem? So these are some hashtags that I think, folks might be familiar with, but maybe not entirely sure as to how influential it really is. So the Black Lives Matter hashtag, that was actually used over 30 million times. I mean, I know that it was used right here in Trinidad and Tobago for certain causes and to promote different, things related to this particular hashtag. And it has become global. It's a global hashtag. It's something that, I think resonates across all social media platforms. And for the record, these hashtags may have emanated on Twitter, but most of the social media platforms now, they recognize, this concept of hashtagging, and, you would see them in all platforms as well. And then, we have the Ice Bucket Challenge, which was quite a few years ago. So the numbers might seem small, 6.2 million, but, social media has grown exponentially from that time to now. And the Ice Bucket Challenge was able to raise hundreds of millions of dollars, to support, the cause that it was related to. Some of us sitting in here may have engaged in the Ice Bucket Challenge, right? So there are really positive things that come out of it as well. And then lastly, we have one of the more recent ones, which is the Me Too Challenge. And that really was about, women speaking about of things that happened to them and empowering women to take a stand, against some of the bad things that happen. And this was used 19 million times. I mean, when you think about it, you're creating an awareness just by using a hashtag and some words or phrases associated with it. So definitely, you have the ability to change your world with a hashtag, and remember, I'm going to hand it over to you to maybe ask a question to the audience, maybe how we can engage in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would like to, invite you all, if you have any questions in the chat, if you'd like to pose any questions. And meanwhile, I would like to ask you, Darren, to dig deeper into this hashtag concept. So from what you're describing, my understanding of a hashtag, that it is a virtual community. So a hashtag is like a door in the cyberspace that gets you into a community that shares the same value, cares about the same issue, and how people can join that community. Can you tell us what is the importance of a hashtag? What is a hashtag?
Sure thing. And I'll try not to get too technical, but hashtags really, it is a tool that the social platforms, it really started on the Twitter platform, that you can use to index your content or associate your content with a particular phrase. So if I wanted to post something, regarding the ice bucket challenge, I could have put up a picture and write a little, paragraph and hashtag ice bucket challenge. In the same light, I have cyber safety tea. So if I want to write a post and I want folks to associate it with cyberbullying or cyber grooming or cyber safety tea, all of those would have been hashtags associated to that post. And how it works is someone can actually go to Twitter or Instagram or even Facebook, and they can search for terms. So when you actually search for particular terms, it then identifies the hashtag. So like if you look at our background, peace in cyberspace, hashtag with you, all of those are hashtags that can be used, and you can actually use to search, whether it is social media or even in Google, and it will bring up associated content. So if you wanted to make a change, basically you can start a particular hashtag and get your friends and your family and their friends and their family to use it. Anytime they were to make a post about something positive and influential, and it will then become viral, as we say.
That's very interesting, and that's what we want to keep you stay tuned, because at the end of the in the last session we will do a fun virtual activity using particular hashtags for this event. I'm not going to talk about it in detail, but all of you who received, can you see those cool backgrounds that we have? They all have hashtags that you can copy and utilize, as we will instruct at the end. But back to the hashtag and how it works. It's really important for everyone on this call to understand how it works, because it's such an important tool. You highlighted how it creates not only a community, but it also allows you to search and learn about an issue. So it also allows you to tag this issue and connect it with other issues. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the word viral. This viral world is a very important world in the cyber world for you to be visible and to be seen and to be heard. And the word viral is the word that uncovers numbers. Like when you shared the hashtags, you shared not zeros. Those important hashtags has many zeros in front of them. So what is viral? What's trending? What are these? How does that even work?
Well, viral has good and bad meanings associated with it, right? Because something could be viral and it could be a bad post or a bad image, but something could be viral and it could be positive, which is what we just shared, right? For most cases, viral would be something that's shared by over hundreds of thousands of people. It will be something that, you will probably start to see in conversation and not only see on social media, right? You might find that a viral post and or image doesn't necessarily need to have a hashtag associated with it, but it would be so, intriguing and enticing that someone would just share it. And, that sort of brings us back to the original topic, earlier on in that of cyberbullying and cyber grooming, where you generally don't want to be sharing that type of content, because that in itself can also become viral. And, you're going to head down a really slippery slope. Yeah. So what you can probably do is, stop sharing and stop promoting that type of content, but instead start sharing the good stuff. And, you might share a particular piece of content and put your own hashtag associated with it, to sort of build that momentum, to get that particular one, viral, you have that ability to make things viral within your own small community, whether it be right here in Trinidad and Tobago, any one of the islands up the Caribbean chain as well, so you can actually have things trending as well. And I know we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, and that's really important, that what you highlight about the choice that we have on social media every day to build momentum around positive messages and reshare hashtags. So we have the power to empower what's positive by choosing a hashtag that we believe in, an issue that we believe in, and follow that momentum and build that momentum, versus allowing negative momentum to take over. So it's really a matter of like, we want to create that space and that community in the cyberspace and allow people to find it, search it, learn from it, and interact with it. And in doing so, grow that message and grow that voice for peace, which we will start our own voice for peace later today after our last closing. So stay tuned. So this discussion, Darren, seems to share with us how social media focuses on issues at scale, but and the impact people can have with social media at scale, but and the community level. But are there ways by which social media has empowered individuals, where we can use social media to empower the individual and allow them to become more successful and peaceful in their lives and their communities?
Sure, definitely. But Reem, before we actually go into that, another thought just came across, and I think it's important that we mention it. And this is in relation to what's viral and why did it reach you in the first place. And this is really related to social media algorithms. Now, sometimes we might see something show up on our wall or our timeline or our feed, right? And you're probably wondering, well, how did that show up there? Well, these algorithms, they work based on the content that you might have liked, the content that you might have shared, and the stuff that you might have written. So if you are one that continually writes about, Black Lives Matter or Me Too movement, you will find more content on your feed related to that. So the same way in which, if you are liking negative posts, you will find more negative posts coming your way, because that's just how the algorithm works. So if it's not in tune with your values, you'll find that you're on the social space and this is just not what I am about. It could very well be a simple thing, very simple thing, as liking or commenting on a post brings that information your way. So it's something to be aware of. You do have the power to filter out the type of content that you see on a regular basis. And if you find that, listen, this is just not what I'm about, think back to how you would have interacted with a series of posts or comments in the past, and you will see your information will start to change what you see on a daily basis, right? So I just wanted to add that, to the previous note.
And that's really very important point, Darren, because in summary, what you're saying, if we don't take charge of social media, it will take charge over us. And basically, there's a good analogy that a philosopher, I can't remember who the philosopher was, but about sweeping the floor. So basically, our values and our conscious and our good choices in life is like when you sweep the floor. There's dust on the floor, and if you don't sweep the floor often and you don't really check your values often, in a way, the dust will come back to the floor. So basically, with social media, if we don't intentionally choose the right choices in social media, the dust will come over and overpower us, and that could hijack our values, because we would be seeing more negative things than positive things. So in that way, we need to be very, very conscious about what we like, what we share, what we hashtag, so we're not overpowered by values that are not ours, and we're not overpowered by choices that are not ours, because we would be victims to those, unconscious choices that we make. So that's really important point, Darren. And back to my question about, this is how social media impacted us at scale and in ways that at the community level with the hashtag, but are there ways in which that social media can empower us as individuals and promote our own success, and where we can use it to be proactive about our own lives?
Yes, of course, Reem. And I love your analogy. That whole concept of sweeping and cleaning the floor. Folks, you could just, put that to cleaning up your friends list. You might have asked someone ever so often, and you realize this person is just continue with this negative content. You might just want to, silence them for a few days, or even unfriend them or unfollow, because that really helps to clean up your profile. So Reem, social media can really do some fantastic things. It definitely can help individuals promote themselves. And this is both young and old. And I'm really happy to share, this particular example. of this young lad. His name is Isaiah Rowley, and I met him on the golf course. He's a young golfer as well, but he also has a fantastic talent of making sweets. And this particular picture here, he's showing off his fudge that he's made. And Isaiah took to Instagram to promote his product. And you're seeing two pictures here. He has a really great following. And at just 11 years old and just utilizing this particular platform, he was able to get his product at Vanilla Bean Gourmet and Aloe Marketplace. And those are two, pretty popular places in Trinidad and Tobago. And you have individuals who, may have a particular talent, can actually do some really amazing things. And this is a really, really positive example of how social media can actually be used, to take you to another level, right? So, patronize Isaiah, buy his fudge, help him out. He's doing a really fantastic job, and there are so many other examples, that I can share. And there's a local example of how, you can, build your brand and become pretty successful on social media. I have another one, and I think this is, quite amazing. I'm still quite in awe. I would have followed this guy called Art of Raj, again on Instagram. And he's a local artist, and he would, do certain drawings, mostly in pencil, because he has a particular style. And then I gravitated towards it because it was really nice. Lo and behold, there are other folks who gravitated towards his art. And that would have been people over at Netflix. They actually saw his artwork, and, they decided to give him the opportunity to storyboard an entire series. So here it is, you have a Trinidad and Tobago artist who was simply just having fun on the internet, showcasing his talent. And next thing you know, he's contacted by Netflix to help them, complete a particular series. So Reem, if that's not a success story, I don't know what is, and it's really fantastic. I encourage everyone to go follow Art of Raj and see his work. You'll see his progress, from just being an individual on social media to being someone that's hired by Netflix.
And what I love about these two examples is that it shows how social media has eliminated barriers. Like in a different world, you wouldn't have that easy access to Netflix or to the marketplace where you can utilize, monetize your talent. Like in the first example, the teenager who loves cookies and baking, and now he owns a small business, and he understood that social media amplified his work and created marketing for him that is not necessarily expensive, or mostly for free. And with that, he made income, and he started his first venture and gained success that way. And in this case, what I love about this, it's not entrepreneurial. It's someone who's talented, who didn't have the intention of creating a business, but he just was brave enough to put his talent and share it out there with the world. And he shouted out his values. He put out his good, and positive energy out in the world, and then the world in a way resonated. And so with that, I would like to encourage every young person watching us, and every person really, to start capitalizing on your talents and be proud of these talents, and start to put that out there on the internet and present it throughout the various social platforms, and let the world know you exist. And then you will meet your tribe. You will meet people who will resonate with what you do. And the point is not to have everyone in the world resonate with you. The point is to find the people who will, to find the people who share that same interest. I think there's new platforms such as TikTok now with videos. And so there's various ways to present your talent. People do dance and do music and share all sorts of things. Do you have thoughts on that, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, I've been encouraged to join the TikTok platform, but I'm neither the singing nor the dancing type. So, it's not something that, you might find you can engage in, but I've seen a lot of businesses engage it and use the platform quite, creatively to promote themselves. And it's definitely something that has, as we said, it's gone viral. You've had so many internet type challenges, really good and fun ones that, the family might engage in, on the different platforms. So it's really about finding your space, finding where you're comfortable in, understanding what each one of the platforms can and should be used for, and using it to the best of your capabilities. Now, with every single one of them, you may encounter someone who might be jealous and trying to cyberbully you, and we would have spoken about ways in which you can deal with it. You can stop, block, and tell. You can, use the platform to assist with removing those accounts. But we shouldn't let those things deter us. Always use social media in a positive and influential space. It will have benefit to folks like yourself, as well as to those around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Darren. And to wrap this discussion, I'd like to say that for all the young people watching today, you have a great opportunity in navigating social media and see what are the positive opportunities out there that exist to help grow you as an individual, allow you to share your ideas with the world, your talents, start learning about how other people have grown their businesses, how they've grown their connections, how they've grown their voices on social media. You have so much to offer. And the great thing about cyberspace that there's less barriers these days than we had 10 years or 15 years or 20 years ago. So you have the world at the tips of your hands, literally. If you have a phone, you have internet, you can create a great world. And so I urge you to start thinking about your choices every day. So for that, we would like to take you now on our second exciting breakout session discussion, where you would actually brainstorm, reflect about ways in which your social media could align with your values and such. And you will be accompanied with an amazing group of people and facilitators who will help you with that discussion. So I will see you again in 30 minutes to do our fun activity and then close this wonderful workshop with a call to action. So I'll see you in 30 minutes. Thank you so much, Darren. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the breakout rooms. I was jumping from breakout room to the other, and I was very inspired by the conversations and all of your commitment around social media. So now it's time for an activity. It's time to start recovering for an equitable and sustainable world today, and use this event to do so. It's time to create momentum for peace on social media. And today is our opportunity. It's the International Day of Peace to elevate our voices for peace and share our commitment to peace with the world on the International Day of Peace. And before we do our cyberspace activity, I would like to highlight that District 7030 chose International Day of Peace today, 21st of September, to be the first Rotary Service Day for the Rotary year, which is a phenomenal timing and choice. So the service on this day, which is also the International Day of Peace, is the district's call to action to promote an end to online bullying and harassment within our communities, which was highlighted earlier also by DJ Sonia and Deb and others. So in partnership with the UN, the Agency for Children, UNICEF, there has been specific online safety messages that have been developed to keep our children and young people safe. And all these resources are available on the district's website for all of you to access. The website link is in the chat, I believe, and also in your resource packet that was sent to you. And also you all can access that information by going to the district website. So we talked about hashtags earlier. We talked about how a hashtag is a way to build momentum and create a community. And so today we decided to kickstart our hashtag by doing something fun, by doing something, celebratory and fun. So we would like to give you the option to be part of this. You can screenshot this conversation. You can take a selfie and then hashtag your selfie with the hashtags that you see on your background that you received. which is hashtag Peace Day, hashtag Peace in Cyberspace, District 7030, and Peace Day, and with you, hashtag with you. And why we wanted to connect all these hashtags together is to show the world that there is a momentum and there is a message and there is a unified voice and a collective voice coming from the Caribbean on International Day of Peace to raise awareness and show commitment for support and solidarity of those victims of cyberbullying and cyber grooming, and to also highlight that you are taking action for peace and having that commitment for peace. And so with that, I would like to give you some moments to do that. So let's take a few minutes to take action and post our selfie with maybe a reflection or a lesson from your workshop today. Given our conversation earlier about cyberbullying and cyber grooming and social media for positive peace. And you can post your photo, your selfie, or the screenshot, or your thought, or the videos and the resources from the website. Post, reshare, and hashtag on your social media now. So we'll give you a few minutes to do so. I will start myself. I'm going to take my selfie with you. Let's hope that will go well. Okay, I don't know. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I took my selfie. I'm going to post that on my social media and hashtag it. Oh, that was not a good one. Maybe I'll do the screenshot. It's the trial and error. So I think what I will do is maybe just take a picture of the event. Okay, I'll do that, and then I will hashtag it. So what I will do when I hashtag it, I will associate this with the image that you all received in your email today. With the, everyone got this background photo, but also they got an image that highlights peace in cyberspace, which is the message we want the world to know is coming from the Caribbean, that we are for peace in cyberspace, that we want cyberspace to be a place for peace, and that you are pioneering that idea. So all of you can start hashtagging your selfie, your photo, the video, anything you like with that photo, and then start building that trend or that momentum that we talked about earlier. Great. So let's take a few minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to do so. And the cool thing about the hashtag is that everyone can go to the hashtag and you can see everyone's photos. So feel free to, to take the selfie or not, mute your camera if you don't wish to be on this activity, share other things. There's many ways by which you can build that momentum. But I like to do it selfie style because it's fun. Yeah, and I think the email you received, the information is, if you want to search it in your email, the title is Peace in Cyberspace Workshop Update. And it has both the images, which is the image of the background and the main image of the work, Stop Cyberbullying image. I will share the hashtag photo myself because that's a good photo to have. I'm going to share all the photos. And then we will hashtag those photos. I will say peace in cyberspace. I will also use with you. I will also use service day. Let me double check. I think it's service day. Peace day. We need to also hashtag peace day. Peace day and service day and peace day. And then Rotary District 7030. Rotary District. And then Rotary District. Great. I already can see that Rotary District 7030 has 1,000 plus hashtags. So that's good. That means you are doing it. I just posted it. I made it public. And you can see those images. Wonderful. Great. 5 minutes for that fun activity. I hope then we can today create momentum. Imagine like all of us have friends on our social media and all of us have the power to push that momentum. So in closing, I would like to, before we close, I'd like also to ask you to take the survey that was sent to you also with the same email. And also I believe the survey will be posted in the chat. You can click on it right now and it's very easy to take. It's 5 questions, so easy to answer. It will take you 2 to 3 minutes to answer, or 5 maximum. So it would be very useful for us to know if this is good for you, this workshop was positive for you, in what way, and if we achieved our goals today, and how can we improve it in the future. So your input is everything. And then in closing, I would like to highlight how honored I feel to celebrate International Day of Peace with all of you, and how proud I feel of all the young people on this call who took the time to commit to peace and take action to raise awareness for peace, for showing up, for being here, for engaging in conversations. I've met some of you during the breakout rooms, and you are very impressive young people, and you give hope to me and to the world that our world is going towards a positive trajectory, towards solutions, creativity, and a bright future for all, because you guys are in charge. And I'm honored to be a small part of that. So thank you all for making this International Day of Peace special and impactful. And I would like to end up by special thank you to the core team who made this workshop possible. And without their help, none of this would have been even possible. So I will go, the core team, Debbie, the Peace Chair, and all the wonderful people, Sean, Darren, Brian, Giselle, Marianne, Jalim, Mavis, Soraya, Heather, Lyle, and many, many, many more that I would leave Debbie to address and thank officially. Thank you so much. Enjoy your evening. And now I will leave it with you, Debbie, to give your official thank yous. Happy International Day of Peace.
Prem, thank you so much. Where do I start? There are so many people to say thank yous to. We just had a lot of wonderful love and support the Peace Committee in pulling off this event. I'm going to do it in random order, and if I miss anyone, please, it is through inadvertence. It's not that we didn't appreciate the effort that you put in. Our District Governor, Sonia Lane. Sonia, you are like our inspiration. You know, Sonia lets us do what we have to do. She gives us 100% support. I really want to say thank you for giving the committee the sort of flexibility you did, for always being there if we needed you, and for being part of our event tonight. Rotary International Director Peter Kyle, I know Peter had to leave early, but Peter always supports us in District 7030, and we're really, really happy to have him with us. Reem, fantastic job. For the last 2, almost 3 months, Reem has been with us every week working on this workshop. There's so much I can say about Reem. Reem is a perfectionist. She has put in the time. She has pushed us. She has laughed with us. She has been there with us. And tonight, I think, is testimony to her ability. Darren as well. Darren, we don't know you for such a long period as we know Reem, but Darren very willingly came on board as a panelist to be part of our session, and he brought us tonight his expertise. And Darren Dory, I just want to say thank you very much for being part of our Rotary District 7030 event, and hopefully we'll see you in the Rotary world a bit more. My peace committee, I call them my backbone, and I'm going to call out their names: Brian Ramatali, Marion Farrier, Heather Tull, Christine Shalou, Jalem Ramnarayan, Lyle Chase, Carlotta Walcott, Stephanie Buckley. I can't do this job without you guys, you know that. And I say thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love and support that you all have given throughout. Darren Sarion from Suriname, our Rotaractor, who took the lead on branding. Darren just managed the entire general meeting room while we were out in the breakout rooms. Darren, it's been a pleasure meeting you, interacting with you, and I really look forward to working with you in the future. Giselle Holder. Giselle and I were up perhaps almost all night last night. Giselle, your computer skills, your energy. Giselle is our district Rotaract chair, and she was just able to mobilize and help us get so many things done. Sean Paddy, our communications chair. Sean was with us every single meeting we had with respect to preparing for this event. And for those of you who know Sean, he's spot on with his technology, his advice, and what he brings to the table. I haven't seen it in any of the other sort of sessions we have attended. So Sean, thank you so much for continuing to support the committee and its work. Our translators, Vicky Gusto, Mavis Jibas, Natalie Giles. What would we do without our French translators? They are with us all the time, and not only did these ladies translate for us tonight, they also took the responsibility to be in the breakout rooms and help to facilitate. So guys, big thank you on my part, on behalf of everyone. I want to especially mention H.E. Maurice Sad. Maurice, it was a pleasure working with you to get the French Interactors and Rotaractors involved in the session. Thank you for bringing the video from the French Interactors of Guadeloupe to my attention and making it available to us. You know, a lot of work went into doing the English captionings and ensuring that that video could be shared, and it's just a wonderful video. And I hope for those of you who are in the breakout rooms, you have clicked on the link and you would take a look at it as well. Interact Chair, Soraya Warner Gustav. Soraya is a team player. She was able to get us, I think, about 190 interactors who registered for the session. And Soraya, I really thank you for your effort, not just you. I know that your Interact team was with us. You had members of your team here tonight. You guys are doing a great job, and it was really a pleasure working with you and continuing to work with you on peace activities. The wonderful backdrop that we have, Shams Canterbury, Rotaractor, that was done within a matter of, I think, Giselle, probably an hour or so. Quick turnaround time. That's the sort of dynamic energy we have in 7030. So I want to say thank you so much, Sham, for providing us with the wonderful backdrops. The Service Day team, Denise Shepard Johnson, Fiona Hines Lanford, they were part of this. The Service Day team gave support to the Peace Committee. We gave support to them. They joined us. They were facilitators as well. Guys, big thank you. We tried our best to push the Service Day hashtags, and I know after Reem's session tonight, I'm sure that those tags will be shared more widely. The 30 volunteers for the breakout rooms, I can't call every single name. It's going to take too long, but guys, you all are real Rotarians. You all are true Rotarians. You stepped up to the plate. We may have had some glitches tonight, but you all stayed on, you supported. That, you know, that is what makes District 70 the strong and wonderful district it is, having wonderful people like you all as part of it. I want to say a special shout out. Today at the last minute, we were short on facilitators at one point in time, and my club president, Chun Singh, club secretary, Adish Deonarain, DRR Mario Boyce, DRC Gavin Parsons, they just jumped on board. They were not part of the training beforehand, but they came on and they were like, yes, within an hour, unless we were able to get their commitment. So I have to mention that, you know, say a special thank you to them as well. And lastly, our audience, our participants, there would be no workshop without you guys. So I really, really want to thank everybody who has stayed on, who joined us, who are part of this. I hope you have learned a lot tonight, and I hope that, you know, we will see you soon, that this is just the start of our engagement with you in terms of peace. And my last thank you is thank you for your patience and listening to my thank yous, but I just had to say it all. So in closing, happy International Day of Peace. Peace be with you guys and have a great evening. Thank you.